Hello and welcome to Live with DailyDOOH. We're here at Samsung KX in King's Cross in London. Let's get straight on with it. Let me welcome my first guest, Kevin Shute from Rainmaker.
Hello, Adrian.
Hello, Kevin.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Take a seat. Okay, right. Well, we're here in King's Cross. Thanks for coming. After COVID, when was the last time you took the stage or did any sort of speaking?
Before COVID, obviously if you're running a small business, COVID has been even more negatively impacted than it probably has for the larger ones. So yeah, it's welcome to get back in a forum where there's even business being discussed. God, the last 2 years has not been the best.
Right. What do you think's going to happen in 2022? Are we going to see a resurgence in the out-of-home space? Or is there going to be a recession? What's your feeling?
I mean, if you think about out-of-home in a COVID lockdown era, it's been a tricky time, the COVID era, for outdoor, but what the medium has shown is that in adverse times, it's a medium of integrity, the most trusted public service medium as well. So we have to keep going out and banging that drum.
Okay. Do you think that the industry does a good job at selling itself or selling that to people at all?
What, you mean the public service elements or the?
Well, the integrity element. I mean, we've got in the UK, we've got Outsmart who should be banging the drum. Are they doing a good job at banging the drum, or do they?
Again, you're probably referring to some of my social media posts. I think a medium of this stature, with this ambition, and the credibility and the integrity that outdoor offers advertisers, we need to collaborate more, and we need to harness that through a marketing body that is a bit more potent, a bit more effective, a bit more or better resourced than it is at the moment. Because my understanding at the moment is one person desk surfing for a medium that at the moment is £1 billion medium, with aspirations of being way beyond.
And so you're saying the big media owners should be putting big money back into that sector? Because they did at one point.
Well, it's not so much about money, it's about resource. Whether you second people to the organisation.
Okay, it's an interesting idea.
Is key. And you've seen the COVID era, JCDecaux and Clear Channel in particular, you're seeing more collaborative ventures to promote the medium, promote the prowess of the medium than you ever saw before.
Right.
And that's to be encouraged, I think, because it can only lead to growth.
I like the idea of seconding people to the organisation.
Yeah.
Has that been suggested, do you think, or talked about? Because it's a brilliant idea.
Talked about. I don't know whether the upper echelons of the main council members that has been there. But it seems to me, if you have a vested interest in growing your medium, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
Why wouldn't you second people there to grow it?
Now I'm always worried about talking about how long people have been in the industry. But you've been in the industry for about 30 years. You started at Morrow Farrell.
Yeah, so I graduated and went to Procter & Gamble. And from Procter & Gamble, so these media owners didn't notice much of outdoor. Right. Procter & Gamble in those days spent all their money on TV. And I saw some media owners and got approached by one and essentially enticed to join outdoor. And I joined what was then called Morrow Farrell, the widely regarded as the Rolls-Royce medium, Rolls-Royce media owner within the UK market.
Yeah.
Just at a time where they were shifting from billboards into street furniture.
Right, and they'd got the idea of street furniture from somebody in Paris, I think.
Yes, from going to, looking at the French marketplace and going, this is a very good idea.
Right.
So I joined them as they were the only provider of street furniture. It was a new concept, only sold by Clear Channel, as became Clear Channel. Yep. Only sold by Morrow Farrell and only sold in packages. So if you wanted that format, that was the only place to buy it.
Right.
So I joined at the start of that era, and I've left outdoor a few times. Sometimes to go of my own volition to go travelling around the world. Came back. Outdoor's a bit like Hotel California. You check in but you can never leave.
Right.
You always seem to come back. And I came back, worked for what is now JCDecaux's billboard division, then was owned by Havas, called Mills & Allen, the biggest billboard media owner in the UK. Then I left to go on the agency side,
Mm-hmm.
and then got enticed back again to work on a startup in the UK market for a company, American company called Van Wagner,
Right.
which was a sort of
That was
game
Richard
changer.
and his.
Yeah, Richard Schaps and all
Right.
those. So we essentially changed the market and spawned the Oceans of this world and Outdoor Plus.
And
sold the business.
what's a typical week for you like these days then?
Well, for the last COVID years, it's been very, very tricky. There's not much on. But I've got all sorts of projects, whether it's working with media owners, working with landlords, local authorities. If you think about it at the moment, the funding crisis is hitting everybody. Everybody is looking to extra revenue streams, and outdoor advertising seems, or digital outdoor advertising in particular, seems to be one that's in focus all the time.
Right.
So any vested party at the moment that seems to be involved in outdoor, I've got involved with. So
Okay. So it sounds like you could be very busy for the next couple of
well,
years.
I hope so, yeah. Well, it wouldn't be difficult to be busier than the last 2 years, I can
Right.
tell you.
Okay.
Although the dogs have had a good walk, so...
Okay.
it's been
That's
quite
good to know.
interesting, Yes.
Right. We're going to bring on our next guest, Jess Fitzpatrick from Buyers and Sellers. Jess, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Hello, Jess.
Okay.
How you doing?
Okay.
Make a seat. Need to move up a little bit, I think. So, Jess, Buyers and Sellers. Tell us just a little bit.
Great timing.
Oh,
Yeah, so...
would there be something happening like COVID?
Oh, yes, yes. So in 2020, in January, aim was to, go out there, get the biggest spenders in out of home. And, then COVID happened. So it was like, maybe we need to...
But you've been busy
change.
even during COVID.
We did, yeah. So COVID happened, and me being me, I'm like, this can't stop us. This is actually a really good thing, because the way the buyers and sellers model worked at that period, we were going for brands that wanted always on advertising. So it wasn't brands that were paying for campaign led, so 2-week campaigns
Right.
here, there and everywhere. We wanted to deal with the brands that want to spend all year round and buy advertising all year round
Right.
for them. So it didn't really necessarily, it didn't matter to them kind of how much rotation they were getting for
Right.
certain weeks. They just wanted all year round advertising.
Okay.
So that's what the plan was. Then COVID happened, and then what we did, we had loads of like smaller brands and big ones coming to us saying, oh, we want this and this, and we like the way that you do things. You're thinking in the mind of like us and the buyer, and we want to work with you. So we had briefs from all sorts, and some of the briefs that we had were for New York. It was a market.
I was going to say, your accent is a Brummie accent.
Oh yeah, can't
And-
get rid
but
of
you
it.
are based in
Not that I
Birmingham.
want to.
You are, but you operate. You started off in the UK, but you're pretty.
Yeah,
global these days?
transatlantic
Yeah.
now. We do all sorts. So we've done campaigns in New York, Times Square, which has
Okay.
been fun.
Yeah.
We've done stuff in Ireland. We get briefs for Dubai, all over the US as well. So yeah, we're doing bits and
Okay.
bobs everywhere.
Good. I should have said that because you're a 3-year industry veteran, having entered the industry 3 years ago. Whereas, sorry to repeat it,
Grandad.
Kevin, but you're a 30-year veteran.
Yeah, I came in about 1990. I've had a few gaps out of it, but as I said earlier on, it's quite difficult when you get in.
Yeah, Jess wasn't
involved
even
in it.
born in 19.
89. 89,
lie.
baby. So yeah, I've only been in it 3 years. Prior to that, I've done marketing consultancy, and then I owned a magazine company
Yeah.
in Birmingham years and years ago.
How have you found it then? Have you found the industry to be accepting of what you do? Because you do some things a little bit different. And
I do. So my background, my dad is a market trader. So the way I came into the industry is all guns blazing and seeing out of home as perishable goods, just like like flowers.
Right.
And the way I see it is that, it gets to a go live date deadline. You've got all that space that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. So
Right.
why wouldn't you want a deal?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you want to do a good deal?
attitude.
I think there should be
It's-
more emphasis on that. That's one of the things that this formulaic industry where you have, I think it's something like 86% of the entire cake, revenue-wise, is derived from four main buying points, media network-owned buying points. and there's a certain, I wouldn't say laziness, but there's a sort of there's a more casual and less urgent approach than if you want to grow a medium where you're increasing its capacity via digital. You need to get on the front foot and get out there, and I think you need more initiatives and more companies like this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to sit there and go, oh, we didn't sell this week. Oh well.
And that's
Not
it. I think
acceptable.
the urgency's missing, and that's what I found sometimes when I've dealt with media owners as well and some brands. It's kind of just too slow, and I'm the sort of person that will work outside of work office hours. I'll be speaking to people on social media, by DM, on WhatsApp, and I've got clients that will literally message me at 10 o'clock at night, or 6 a.m. in the morning. They'll want answers back straight away, but they'll want to go live like really, really quick.
Right.
And if you've got clients that want to do that, and you're in the kind of job that I can do, that I know I can get that to them quick enough, that's where I win, and that's where I have been winning.
Jess has brought some really good brands into our space that have probably never used the medium before.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just give me a couple of favourites, or at least one
I would
favourite.
say it's categories more than
Okay.
brand. Well, it's both. So the categories that I've done really well in is music
Okay.
and NFTs.
NFTs.
Yes.
Okay, stop there. Because Kevin and I don't know what an NFT is.
NFT and crypto. So it's
Oh my
very
giddy
big
aunt.
market.
Okay, so you're a crypto-centric business. It's something we learned in Miami a couple of weeks ago. So,
Is Elon Musk in it yet? I'm not going to touch it unless Elon Musk is in it.
yeah, he will.
If I got Elon
You got him
Musk
to
on a
advertise it.
billboard,
Yeah.
then I'd be very, very happy.
Yeah.
So
Explain. So you did a video recently with an American billboard blog
Yep.
about NFTs. So practice it again. Explain a non-fungible token to our audience.
Okay,
please.
so many people, when you think of NFTs, will think of digital artwork. They might they've seen a photo of a monkey, and it's a really cool piece of artwork, and they go, well, what's that? Behind that, is encrypted into that, is a digital unit of data.
Yeah.
That's attached to a blockchain, which proves the ownership of that bit of artwork.
Right.
So you can say, that bit of digital artwork is mine. That's mine.
Okay.
And then that...
And can it be replicated?
No, because it's unique, so
Okay.
you can say that is mine. So if you think of it, I've got this original Banksy, and behind that is this unique code which proves that is an original, it's not a fake.
Right.
So if you're transferring it or selling it on, then you know that it's legit and it's not someone that's...
And how have
done
you
it.
got people who, I guess they run NFT marketplaces? I think we've covered a few.
Yeah.
How have you got NFT marketplaces interested in the out-of-home space then?
All sorts. So social media's been a blessing to me. A lot of the people that are digital artists that have started an NFT brand, they're all on social media, and they've found me because of, they're searching billboards or all sorts. Work with some agencies like Chris from Rebel Cat. He's been amazing, and we've been working on some really good campaigns together.
Right.
Ones like Hype Beast, which if you're into NFTs, you'd know about Hype. And then loads of other...
I've seen Twitter from Hate, and it's a monkey or a gorilla or something.
Yeah,
I've got no idea what it
big
means.
one is the Board Out Yacht Club. We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything with them.
Different world.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Kevin's worrying now.
You thinking, what are they on about?
Well, I started an outdoor when, of course, tobacco was still legal to be advertised on outdoor, and every street in the UK would have a long-term tobacco advertiser on it, whatever the particular brand
Moved on.
in those areas were. But they've
have
they've
crypto
moved on.
companies started advertising in out of home anywhere? Do you know?
Yeah, so it depends on the market and the media owner. There's some media owners in all different markets that will only run certain copy. You'd have to have certain words or scripts at the bottom to say this is this and blah blah blah.
Okay.
And then some media owners are completely fine with it.
Okay.
Depends on the artwork really.
When we went to Miami for our AdTech conference in early April, and that was also Miami Tech Week. And Miami, if you know, is being billed as the head of crypto, and so many crypto companies bought out all of the street furniture. So Outfront Media, Ghost Swiftmar, which is a digital street furniture business that does e-scooter electric vehicle charging like Volta. Clear Channel, they sold out the whole inventory just based on crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And they put it as a premium category. So it was interesting. We're trying to get quotes out there for some of our clients, and the prices for NFT brands just were more.
Oh, really?
Which was very.
Is that something that normally gets done? They put it in categories? Kevin?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, some other categories before the lockdown started did a campaign for RT News in New York and in London. Obviously, they won't be coming back because they've just been bombed out by Ofcom. Their license has been removed. But things change. If you think about the underground, I mean, unilaterally banned what they called HFSS advertisers, high fat, salt and sugar. You can still rent a kiosk selling cupcakes on underground real estate, but you can't advertise them there.
I've had some pushbacks from
bizarre.
that recently.
Very
Who's
strange.
responsible for that? Is that ultimately the Sadiq?
Well, that'll
mayor,
be, yeah.
or?
I mean, the mayor of London is the ultimate authority over transport for London, and
So he makes those
come
decisions.
from there. Well, it's it's part and parcel of we now go to restaurants and they have calorie count on each of the listed items on the menu.
Right.
It's a bit strange to me.
You'll find this funny. So I had a campaign pushback recently, and it was for get your COVID jab. But on the photo for it, it was someone eating food in a cafe, and in the background there was some salt and vinegar because there was eating chips, and they said they can't do it. But it was for a campaign to promote getting
a jab as well.
But because it had fish and chips on the
Weird.
photo, it was.
Well,
that
so
allowed.
I learn a lot from following people's Twitter. Kevin, I'm a big follower of yours. And,
Thank you.
And I think we're poles apart from
Yes, we indeed.
on politics generally.
Yep.
But as you know, I've been agreeing with you more and more in the last 6 months. Kevin's a good person to follow if you want somebody. If you want somebody objectionable to follow, that's not me. Kevin's a good person to follow. But with you, Jess, you've got a couple of different accounts. I learned so much about what my daughter's life is like because similar ages and whatever. And I learned about gym clothing, your Gymshark. I didn't know what Gymshark was. It's obvious that Gymshark surely has something to do with gyms, but I didn't realise that. And that's a big clothing brand. Mm-hmm. But you get to know the owners of these businesses and you speak to them on a regular basis and they appear on the adverts and you've done big things for them. What was the thing that you did for them in New York recently? Or was it last year? I would say recently, last year now.
Yeah, no, it feels recent.
It does feel recent, doesn't it?
It was last February or March that we did the campaign for them in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It's just literally my favourite campaign to date that I've done. It was very much around a social media campaign for them. They put a tweet out saying, whoever responds to this tweet with the best tweet and gets the most retweets or likes, we're going to put up on a billboard in Times Square. And it just went viral. Loads of people were, competing to be on this billboard in Times Square. And then it got down to 2 e-gamers. And one of them put just the lyrics to their new song out, and all of the fans jumped on it, and it just exploded. And then it was like, a competition between the two, who was going to get the spot. And then they did a countdown, a timer, to it going live, and then it went live, and people were filming their reactions to it going live. And then there was just so much to it. I mean, it was just incredible. And the amount of impressions that it got, I think it was 1 billion impressions overall on social alone. And it was number 2 trending in the US on the day that the Senate got taken over.
And this is, wow, that's impressive then.
I mean, it was
is this,
all over the world.
This is Twitter, Insta and TikTok? Is there a combination
of all three? It was mainly Twitter that it was going crazy on. There was stuff going on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn as well. But Twitter...
Now that happens, isn't Gymshark a Birmingham-based business?
Yes.
Clothing retail stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's a unicorn business. It's gone.
A unicorn business.
So a unicorn business. Ben Francis set it up. I think it was about only 7 years ago. It's worth might be. I couldn't even tell you how much. A lot. So it's just gone like that. And they've
come back to out of home. They're going to do more.
Yeah. So we've got a campaign that's going to be on social media. Like this week, that's going. Yeah,
good timing. We look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, we've got some cool stuff that we're working on with them, which is so exciting. It's nice working people that I've known for years. I've known Noel Matt for a long time. We used to go out clubbing the same places, and now they're just like that. They're going from strength to strength.
Good.
So that's cool.
I want to talk about some of your Digivan stuff a bit later on, but it's time to bring on our next guest. So Fiona FitzGibbon, the founder and CEO of Diversiffi Media. Hello, Fiona.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for the invitation. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Squeeze up on the sofa.
How are you?
I'm good. You're looking very dapper.
Thank you very much.
That's good. So, what have you been up to?
Because that's a leading question.
I know. It's the same as Kevin. Is it? Have you not done anything for 2 years?
Oh, no.
Practicing the tennis backwards and forwards or something?
No, not as much as I'd
No?
like. No,
Okay.
it's certainly, the market is certainly picking up right now.
Good to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenging 2 years, but I think it's been challenging whatever industry you're in,
Right.
other than almost
Yeah.
IT, frankly.
So Fiona's been very good to us and helped us immensely with events. I think you keynoted one of our media summits
I
at
did.
BAFTA many, many years ago when we first got to know you.
Yeah.
You helped us with a number of ad tech conferences in Amsterdam and
Yeah,
New York
York.
and London, and we haven't had very many of those recently. Let's talk a little bit about programmatic, which Kevin is too old to know what programmatic is.
Okay.
And Jess doesn't use it because Jess just does her own selling.
Okay.
Kevin mentioned, maybe I'm putting the wrong words in his mouth, but about the oversupply. We've got so much inventory and we can now run 6 adverts every minute in it, sort of thing. What's your thoughts on the programmatic side of things and how that's moving? Because we have so many industry players now in this space.
We do. There are an awful lot of platforms, I think, and at some point there will be a consolidation.
Okay.
Because there needs to be a consolidation to have that agility that the industry needs. But I think, overall, I think it's a really positive move. I think what it's done is, over the last 2 years, if there could be a silver lining from an industry perspective, it has meant a huge acceleration of the adoption of ad tech.
Right.
And that has been needed, but there have been many players that have really resisted that change. They've resisted that raw data of audience. They've resisted opening up all their inventory, of which programmatic you don't have to. You can allocate whatever you want on programmatic.
So the people who restrict it, you mean the media owners and the
From
media
the media
specialists?
owners. Mainly the media owners some have been wary of what does that actually mean to their bottom line, which I get. But I think what it has done, and I think we're in an encouraging place as an industry, it has the opportunity to take out of home from that silo channel into being fully integrated from an omni-channel perspective.
Right.
So programmatic is only a transactional process. That doesn't mean that we're suddenly going to get a flood more of clients coming to out of home, because it's just the transaction.
Right.
What it does mean, though, it means that we have a greater consolidation of data. So if you think out-of-home data is very much mobile data, so planning can be much more agile. We can bring out-of-home into the potential of other channels, as we know, social media, how other channels is being bought. So taking out-of-home from being a silo channel into being fully integrated elsewhere is really encouraging. However, I don't think... My concern is that we talk a lot about programmatic and we talk a lot about the advantages, what it means, how does that reflect on the industry, what are clients looking for. But we mustn't forget, we mustn't let that override the basic principles and value of out of home, which seems to be less talked about.
Okay.
And I think we need
agree.
to...
What Kevin was saying earlier on, wasn't it?
I mean,
And
programmatic doesn't
and-
really exist. I mean, okay.
It does exist. I
It
think
exists,
it
but
exists.
it doesn't... You wouldn't even pay for your branded mouse mats with the money.
But
you buy from
anything
them.
new in an industry has
Yeah,
to
it takes a
start
while.
from
I agree.
somewhere.
I agree.
So
I
I
agree.
think it's a great
I agree.
thing. I think, as I say, it really moves the dial from it always being media and out of home.
Right.
You know, let's all go in as one opportunity.
Has the industry done a good job of trying to get new brands into that funnel?
I think there's a lot more to be done. I think
Jess is shaking her head, but that's
There-
because Jess's job in life is getting new brands into our industry.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the brands that I'm working with are young brands that don't know what OOH means. And when
Right.
I joined Clear
Yeah.
Channel, what's OOH? I want to sell billboards. And they're
Yeah.
going out of home. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So you're having all this
It's
training
interesting.
where you're going,
Yeah.
I don't know what this means. And then the fast track brands that I work with, really, they haven't got time to sit there with a boring presentation telling me why programmatic's good and what OOH is and all this stuff. They just want to know
what's
am
it
I-
going to deliver?
what's
my
it going to,
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
where am
Delivery.
I? What's it like, the site? You know, how much does it cost and how long am I going to be on for and all that kind of stuff. That's what's important to them. So I think there's a lot of teaching the client as well as all the people within the media owners, all the staff, what it is and how good it is.
It's like when you start out. So I was fortunate enough as a graduate to go to Procter & Gamble, and they instill everybody, whether the salespeople or marketing people, in the same thing, believing. And one of the things you pick up there is like, don't talk about the features of anything, whether it's a cleaning product or whatever. Talk about the benefits, sell the benefits. Don't talk about programmatic. It's a feature. It's just an execution, a delivery thing. Tell people what the benefits are. This gets you X amount of eyeballs, Y times a day, bang, here we go. Simple, really.
Yeah.
Whether it's digital, whether it's paper and paste, whether it's programmatic, whether it's automated, doesn't really matter. Same thing.
Right.
Same end result.
And what do you think about the industry bodies then? Are they doing enough? Like you work globally, so have you? Let's not mention anybody by name necessarily, but globally, are the industry bodies doing the right?
There is there's huge value to having global bodies, irrespective of your channel. You know, you've just got to think of whether you've got the TV association, you've got all the different channels, and UK, we are behind the game on that now.
Yeah. Do you agree with Kevin's opinion of governing body?
I'd like to see a think box for outdoor.
Right. That's a good example.
As
fully do a great job.
As fully front-footed, fully resourced, and swinging the bat.
Yeah. And I go back to, I love your idea of maybe the big media owners seconding or lending people.
And then you overcome the reluctance to get involved and to support it because you're intrinsically involved in it from the...
Right.
I mean, it's their medium.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they?
That's true. Thoughts? Think box?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I say the TV. That is think
Brilliant.
box. I mean, I understand from a UK perspective. I understand what the issues were there, and I understand the imbalance of investment to reward. I get that. I really get that. But I think one of the things I think we're on the cusp of, we have adopted ad tech. There is a new way of driving our business. There is a lot of rewards for using out of home as a client. There's a lot of fame and the visibility and all the principles that we know of.
Yep.
If we don't act now, we will miss the boat. We're out of home is in a position at this current time that it probably hasn't been in a long, long time, where everything is starting to connect, and we have a real opportunity to do what everybody wants, is to move our share. And it hasn't moved for years and years. Right. And everything has now come together where we're in that position. And if we don't push the basic values along with the additional agility and flexibility that we can give brands, it will pass us by. Okay. And now is the time.
Who should push that? I question Kevin and
collectively, the industry should.
Okay.
It's not always reliant on the trade body. Yes, the trade body needs to filter through all the information that we as an industry and as a sector can use. But it will always be driven by clients, and we need to have more client representation. So we need to be talking to clients about what are not... I agree with doing your features and benefits. What are the benefits of out of home? But having been a client... it's the other way round. It needs to be, this is what I need to achieve as a client. How can you fulfill that I need? Right. And it needs to be client first, not just tell everybody what can we deliver. No. What does the client want?
Most of the time, not even doing that. I mean, most of the time, out of home is one step away, even further down the track from the client, because there's another level in between it. Half the time, not even talking to the main agent.
Right. So is that a media specialist problem that we're not talking about?
No, it's a media specialist problem. It's a media sector, media industry structural issue. It's the way it's evolved.
Right.
There's got to be more collaboration and more trust between media owners and media specialists.
Right.
So that you don't see it as, ring fencing my client. What are you doing talking to my client? It's a common mantra you used to hear all the time. It's everybody's client. You know,
I have to say, I don't necessarily agree with that. Sorry.
That's fine.
Because I really deal mainly with clients and brands direct, and on the whole, it's welcomed. Great, because I'm helping push everybody's agenda. I think you just have to be intelligent about it. You talk to people's brands, but you ensure that the agency and the specialist are on board and with you, and more than ever they go ahead, tell me what happens.
Right.
I think we now have clients who are much more engaged in where their media investment is.
Right.
It's, you know, they want to know this is my problem. Do you have a solution?
Right.
This is what I'm trying to achieve. How can that be part of solving that?
Okay.
Not just, here's a PowerPoint presentation of lovely out-home
I think that's the
pictures.
thing that Jess has got rather good at in the 3 short years in our industry, in terms of understanding that and talking to the clients. What would happen if Gymshark wanted to do a bigger campaign, say,
Well,
another country? Is that something that you help them with, or
Yes.
would they be passed on to somebody else?
and we work with some great people that will be able to put together programmatic campaign, or if needed, or I work directly with loads of media owners across the world, so I could go direct and do it that way.
But do you see Gymshark as your client? You brought them into the out-of-home space. What happens if they want to go and do a campaign on TfL, for example?
By all means, they could, but I think, to be honest, I've got a really good relationship with Gymshark where they know I'm at the end of the phone. And the way that they work, they're such a fast brand. They've got ideas coming out of a meeting on a Monday. They want answers back by a Tuesday. It's very easy for them to get on the phone to me and then ask for, and I'll give them my honest advice. If I can't help them, if it's out of my league, then I'll say, look, I can't do this one. I'm going to refer you to someone else that can.
The interesting thing is, Kevin, you mentioned earlier, I think, that when you came here today, we're at King's Cross, by the way, you saw a dearth, not very many actual proper adverts on some of the systems, or some of the networks you were with.
When you think about digital, the standard way of dividing down the screen time is 6 a minute. So if you haven't got 6 a minute, you just keep putting fillers on this. So we never in paper and paste days or vinyl days, an advertiser would buy 2 weeks. Sometimes they would want to be removed after 2 weeks, maybe a time-sensitive campaign or whatever. You'd rarely give any overshow. But in digital, you can't really tell whether or not it's booming or there's availability there, unless you know the sequential way that it's sold.
What do we think, Fiona? There's lots of availability, is there? We're not.
Well, the market actually is doing quite well at the moment. Okay. The market is having, but I get your point.
Roadside's doing very well.
Somebody said there was a conference we held last year, one of the meetings said there was too much inventory.
There is an awful lot of inventory, and it's only the best that ever wins. It's always that kind of, there will always be a lot more inventory probably than demand, because it's in so many different environments. You've just got to think, there are 7 environments. Within those, there are more kind of sectors that happen. But whilst I get there are fillers, and from the consumer's perspective, they don't need to know. What does it matter to them?
Right.
And it's got to be from a consumer perspective.
So Kevin sees it because he's in the industry.
But
you think the clients necessarily don't?
And they don't. A consumer isn't going to be walking past something going, I bet that's
a consumer or a client, it's largely irrelevant. But if you think about vendors, media vendors, constructing and building a screen, the lease costs tend to be more expensive. The technology to install is more expensive. We're now in an energy crisis, where the electricity is going through the roof. Higher rents attract higher rates, business rates. Yeah. So you really need to fill the capacity on those screens.
It always surprises me, mainly perhaps more in North America than here, but there's an awful lot of private equity people who want to build more networks. And they always think that advertising is going to come to their rescue. And I think we've seen a couple of examples, again, without naming names. There's a couple of people who figured that they'd make lots of money on, electric vehicle charging stations, and they realise, or screens in front of a supermarket. And that's another example. They're just not going to work that way from a numbers perspective. Let's talk about something you did a couple of years ago. If you go back to the beginning of COVID, you were very instrumental, Fiona, in bringing together the industry to do some of what we call Americans call PSA campaigns. The COVID stuff. Explain how that sort of worked, because you did a great job on doing that.
Thank you. And it was a joy to do, I have to say. And it was March the 23rd. I remember it very well.
Did it remind you of being a media planner?
No, it didn't. It was nothing connected with that. It was March the 23rd, when it was the first day of lockdown, and we were all at home. And I just saw the BBC News, and it was 3 junior doctors coming on BBC News, coming off the night shift, who said, exhausted, they were absolutely exhausted, who said, it's all very good, well, keep thanking us. The only thing you can do to help us is stay at home. And that was it. And it was suddenly like, well, hang on a minute.
Stay at home, there you go.
All these screens, so did a ring round to media owners. A lot of media owners are like, yep, we're in. I had nothing at that point. Then I ran some friends in the creative agency. Their CEO said, yes, run with it. It was all pro bono. Nobody got anything from anywhere. And then it started to move, and then got calls from out-of-home associations abroad who went, give us all the assets, we'll start to do it. They pushed it out, and it ended up being in Australia, New Zealand, across Europe, the UK, Colombia, nearly every continent.
It was truly global, wasn't
it? And it was the first ever, and I know I've been pipped to the post in saying it, it was the first ever true out-of-home global account. We didn't put it in for any awards. It wasn't done for that reason, and it had no signage on it. One of the big things, we did have a couple of media owners who said, yes, we'll display it, but can we put our name on it? And it was, no, you can't, because it's not for that purpose. It is just to, and it was 8 very witty messages that basically said, go home. Unless you are.
That's fantastic.
And it was the creative team from Mullen Lowe. So John Dean and Gary Marjoram were the team behind it. It was their joy, and it was me just getting it out there.
So, Kevin, that's something which was not possible, I guess, in the vinyl paste days.
Well, no, you couldn't move as fast in those days. I mean, digital's been around for thick end of a decade, and brilliant. Hail, all digital is fantastic. It's the way to go. It's taking the medium more slicker, quicker, targetable. But we just need to go fishing where the online money is and pull it all onto our
The very first digital screen anywhere in the world was actually in London, Titan, as it was then, the Transvision screen. And I can't remember what year that was, but certainly the very first ever anywhere.
Well, that particular screen, the Spectacolor one on the top of Haymarket, just off Piccadilly, when I got enticed from the agency side to go back into outdoor with Van Wagner, we had no assets, but we had nothing to sell in London. So it was like scratching your head thinking, what are we going to do? We acquired that site from the landlord. Prior to us getting it, it was a Spectacolor with a company called Maiden. And turned that into digital screen, sold it to LG, which is still there now. The business was sold over a decade ago. So it's and then Ocean, of course, took on the same model, a game-changing model, but the whole entire stock of theirs was digital.
Yeah. We worked out the other day that when we started our blog DailyDOOH, the Co had 4 or 5 digital screens in the whole UK. Don Sperring, of course, was driving their digital stuff now. You're smart, Don. And I don't know what their numbers are now, but they're quite. Kevin always takes apart the Co trading numbers from when they come out of Paris in quite some detail. And I think it's 40 or 50% of their revenue comes from the digital assets.
They've got a fair few in. I mean, they've scaled back on their billboard estate to key cities and key gateway sites, but street furniture for them is still the sort of.
I think we saw a couple of years ago in New York, Deco made some good decisions by actually not trying to pitch for some work. If it wasn't a central city site in a big city, there was no point in trying to do it, and everyone was racing for that bottom dollar.
I mean, I've yet to see JC Deco overbid for any contract.
Right. Okay.
However much they want to, they have a model and they stick to it, and they're pretty efficient.
So, Jess, when you went to New York, talking about New York, when you went to New York a couple of weeks ago, and I followed you on Insta and Twitter and whatever, you seemed to have a good time. But what was your impression of going to? Was that your first time in Times Square?
First time in New York.
First time in New York.
It was a big billboard.
Wow.
I was, taking photos and videos every 2 seconds. We was out there to meet media owners. Was also looking at some sites as well for potential billboards to own and run and manage. So
was it too much, or was it just about right? Because
it's about right. I can't wait to get back out.
Okay.
I mean, I was there for, I think it was a week. I had, I think it was about 15 meetings over a week. Only 5 days I was doing meetings. So it was non-stop from the minute we landed to when we went. I should have had some time off after we got back, but I got back and it was just as crazy. But it was great for, to see all the big billboards that I've booked campaigns on. They're huge on photos. Then you go out there in person and you're like, oh my God, booked a billboard on there. So it was really nice to kind of just see everything.
When was the last time you were in New York? Was it for our conference in October?
2019 was that?
It was,
2019, that was the last time I was in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin?
2019, but
God.
one of the most potent times I was in New York, went over for a board meeting in September 2001, on Tuesday morning. We sat there on 3rd Avenue on the 28th floor, looking out the boardroom. Someone had knocked on the door, 8:30 start. Plane had hit the North Tower, didn't kind of realise what it was. Right. All of us looking south, and then profound.
It's amazing how many industry people that we know were there, at that time.
There was an AAA conference in New York, start on the Wednesday. So we had our board meeting Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday was supposed to be the AAA conference in New York, which obviously never went.
So just the last question for each of you, or all of you at the same time. In terms of get-togethers, we've obviously had a couple of years of not having very many get-togethers. The Ministry of New Media have managed to have, I think, 4 or 5 events last year, which is pretty good. We even managed to have one in Australia in 2020, the only in-person event in the whole of 2020. And we started quite well with this year. We've done an event in Miami a couple of weeks ago. We're doing London this Thursday. We've got Toronto coming up in a couple of weeks' time. What events are you looking forward to this year? They don't have to be my events, by the way, but it helps. You get bonus points if they are. What events are you looking forward to in the next year?
Well, I'm looking forward to the Henley Regatta being back.
That's true. We'll be there. Yes, sorry, I meant to say that. Apart from the Henley Regatta and the Henley Festival.
The World Out of Home conference is also taking place just after your.
Are you going to that one in Toronto?
I'm not at the moment, but that may change.
Fiona, you're going?
I'm going to Toronto. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. Really nice to see everybody face to face.
That's good. Now, the World Out of Home organisation do a great job with events. They're always in beautiful cities. I mean, I can remember when they had one in Beirut.
Yeah,
I don't think a beautiful city.
I don't think they're going to have one in Merthyr Tydfil anytime soon.
No.
I don't think I'd be going to that.
And I think a couple of years ago they had to cancel Istanbul, which would have been a great city to do an event in, but with Erdogan maybe not the right. But you're going to that one. You're looking forward to that. Anything else you got later on?
I haven't, no, because I probably need to look at the schedule and just see what moves in the market and where we're going. So maybe trips to the States,
the
Middle
events
East.
are back now.
Probably.
Yes, I know you're going to come to my October New York Digital Signage Week.
The more I can get out to New York this year.
There you go. We can do events for you in New York every year.
Yeah, I'm up for that. So I'm hoping to go out for the NFT NYC week, which is in mid-June, to New York. And then, to be honest, a lot of the clients that I deal with, I mean, they're UK based, but they're expanding over into the US. So, if there's events that I need to be at, then
but you've recently picked up some business in Dubai as well.
Yeah, so we're getting quite a lot of briefs for stuff in Dubai at the moment, and we've got some really good screens out there that can NFTs and music artists can go on, and they like doing.
So I lied and said that was my last question. I just thought, Kevin, is there one place the industry should be? Is there one city or country we should be visiting and doing events?
Well, in terms of for a conference venue?
Yeah, but promoting the industry. We're trying to do what Jess is doing and bring in new the Maldives. That doesn't help.
Lovely.
I'm
with you.
Well, hopefully soon we'll be going to Kyiv. When we get over this horrendous stuff, that'd be quite a fitting city to go back to if we can stop that conflict.
Yeah, I went to an event in Kyiv when we were allowed to call it Kiev. I know they changed the name. I went to an event in 2011. Beautiful city, beautiful people. Yeah, you're right.
That's a address.
No, I can't. To be quite honest, I can't think of one off the top of my head that we desperately need to go to. I think that we, as an industry, we need to talk probably broader to our clients more and get clients at any conferences we do. So I don't think it's quite so much about where we go, it's who's attending.
Gotcha.
We need
That's a very good answer.
Audience change, because we don't need to keep talking about our industry to the people who are in it every day.
Right.
because it never then
We need to get the CEO of Gymshark along to one of these events and say,
Ben
this is why I did.
Fantastic.
This is why I did
Brilliant.
out of home.
Brilliant.
That would be
Yeah, you're
pretty
right.
Cool.
Good. Okay, Kevin and Jess and
Thank you.
Fiona.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.